Hey guys, what's happening? This is Forgo Nation, and today we're going to do a little old schooling with Ronin. I've actually got some requests for this guy in my Discord. And if you guys are not in my Discord, the link is in the description below. Please join. There's a lot of people in there with a lot of good advice, a lot of great people, a lot of fun people. Really good crowd of guys and gals. So let's take a look at my Ronin. He has 19,000 physical attack. He has 129 attack speed, more or less max attack speed, 51 crit rate, and this is actually, he's going to get an extra 15% crit rate from his third skill. So he'll actually have 66% crit rate. And he's got max critical damage, max ignore defense, and max skill cooldown. He does have the Weapon Master tag, which means that you can use Taskmaster with him. But the thing is, Taskmaster will give that increased skill damage and increased guaranteed critical rate. Well, Ronin already has those things. He already has skill damage and he already has guaranteed critical rate. Guaranteed critical rate and skill damage, the way it works with Taskmaster is the skill damage does not stack on top of each other. If you put Taskmaster with a character like Wolverine who has no skill damage, then his passive will work beautifully because he's giving Wolverine that skill damage. But with Ronin, with a character that already has skill damage, it's not really going to be doing jack. Guaranteed critical rates do not stack on top of each other, and neither do skill damages. They do not stack, guys. This has been tested. It doesn't work, so we're not going to be using him as a support at all. Ronin does have his first gear at 25. He is level 70. His last gear is at 22. His other two gears are 20, and he has no Urus, guys. And keep that in mind when you're watching this run and seeing how well he does, because I do have 55% physical attack on my cards, but those of you out there that got, like say 30%, 35%, physical attack, you're going to be able to do the same thing that I can do as long as you have maximum raid level. And he really is a beast of a character. Again, you got that guaranteed critical rate, which is awesome. Got a little bit of guaranteed dodge. You got this third skill that gives him that 20% all attack buff. The 15% crit rate, which I talked about earlier. It only lasts for 6 seconds, but he's pretty much a one-shot pony, more or less. The duration of the time that you drew in your skill is just for one attack, and it's going to be during about a 3 or 4 second period. So this 6 seconds is more than enough to get close to maxing out your crit rate. His 4 skills is damaging skill. It's kind of like Gambit. He moves to this side and he's throwing out his shurikens. Really cool. Gives him 4 seconds of damage, or 5 seconds of damage immunity. I'm sorry, 4 seconds of damage immunity. I was looking at the penetration for the 5 seconds. Really nice skill. And then the 5th skill gives him a 25% chance of missing attack for 4 seconds. It is an iframe, which is really cool. And it has 4 seconds of silence, which doesn't work in World Boss. You got the guaranteed critical rate by 20%. Pretty sweet. The extra dodge rate, his leadership, gives him critical damage, but we're not going to be using his leadership. He has a stage 6 Power Ranger Hulk set, so this could be fully awakened. He has a CTP of energy, and the ignore dodge at 33%. It'd be a lot better if it was at 40%, but it is what it is. We'll make do with it, and it does have a 200% damage proc. Beautiful obelisk for this guy. If you don't have this kind of obelisk, give him a crit damage with a damage proc, and you'll be good to go. He has a mythic uni. Take a look at the uniform options. We're getting a little dodge from Quicksilver here. Getting some physical attack from Spider-Man. We don't have Squirrel Girl, and never will have Squirrel Girl. You're getting a little dodge from Colossus here. And we're getting a little critical damage from War Machine's Infinity War uni. So guys, let's take old boy into the action, and let's rock and roll. Alright guys, so in the first run we're going to be doing this with no strikers at all. We're going to take on Corvus because since Ronin's a speed character, he won't have any kind of damage reduction against Corvus, which is nice. We're using Wiccan for that 24% all attack, and we're also using Wiccan for that 20% ignore dodge. We're using Shuri for the 45% damage out to supervillains. We're also using Shuri because, one, she's free to play, so is Wiccan, and she has no guaranteed critical rate, so we don't have to worry about wasting any kind of stats. And this is what it is, guys. 3, cancel 4, let the 4 play out, then go into your 5. Pretty simple. We're just going to run through the first phase of all these fights, just to give you guys an idea of how strong Ronin is with all defense down, without it, with no strikers. And honestly, against Corvus, it really makes a big difference. Now, the reason we don't have any, we can go with no strikers, is you really want to have ignore dodge when you're taking on Corvus. He has a ton of dodge, and you really want a good, at least 70% of ignore dodge, really about 80%. It's a lot better. It's really about all you need. But because we have 33% ignore dodge on our CTP of energy, and we're getting 20% ignore dodge from Wiccan. We do have 53% ignore dodge, so some of our attacks are actually missing. So keep that in mind when you're watching this. But still, stage 50 with a 24% all attack leadership, no Urus, and no strikers at all. That's pretty damn good, guys. That's pretty damn good. That is a very strong tier 2. Still, after all this time, Ronin still gets it done. Still. And in this stage, he's awesome because he has good survivability, but his durability is kind of an issue. He can't really take a lot of hits, which is to be expected from a character like Ronin. I mean, after all, he isn't the Hulk. But still, you know, in level 50, stage 50, it's not so bad. But when you get in higher levels, it don't take much. He's pretty much like a piece of paper. He dies pretty easy, so you have to be very careful with him. But in higher stages, you're going to use a lot of different strikers. So we're going to go ahead and pause this. So as you guys can see, we can definitely do stage 50 with no strikers at all. Just using a little over 50% ignore dodge. Pretty sweet. Now let's move on to the next run. So I'm going to be using some kind of unlikely strikers here, guys. So I talked about Taskmaster earlier. Something you can use him for is a striker. Actually, he's an excellent free-to-play striker because he'll offer 6% crit rate and 10% critical damage, which is really nice to help max out your stats on your character. But he also does his all defense down as a striker. So he's applying 45% all defense down, which is amazing. It's the same as Deadpool, except his all defense down starts at 5% and Deadpool starts at 15%. So you gotta do more hits with Taskmaster, but being that he's completely free, and he only needs to be tier 1, guys. So that's pretty awesome to know that. You got Kate Bishop for some ignore dodge, Anti-Venom for some heals, Molten Man for some paralysis, and Warpath for 10% damage dealt to supervillains. And Warpath does his 4th skill, guys. He doesn't do his all defense down, which kind of sucks, but yeah. So Taskmaster is the only all defense down we're actually getting, but you can see it being applied, man. Pretty sweet. We're doing 5 stages higher. So not bad. 5 stages higher, same exact team. Getting it done, guys. And having that paralysis, that 2-second paralysis from Molten Man really, really helps to lock down frickin' Corvus. He's really a pain in the rear because he jumps around all over the place. He iframes all the frickin' time. He's very hard to get a hold of, and it sucks. I honestly can't stand playing against Corvus because of that. Because if you don't mind control him the whole time, he kind of becomes a bit of a nuisance, a bit aggravating to play against. Yeah, he kind of sucks. But Ronin is the ninja for sure, man. The way, and he's done something else about Ronin so awesome. He's just so smooth to play. Now we're coming up on finishing this stage here, or finishing up this phase. Boom. I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna go ahead and pause it. And 3 minutes and 9 seconds, guys. So you know, a little less than 2 minutes, and we could probably go maybe stage 56, maybe stage 57 with this setup. Now let's go OP. Alright guys, so now we got the OP setup going on. We switched out Wiccan for Nick Fury, so we did lose some ignore dodge, so we got to make it up in the strikers. So I'm running with Black Widow, Misty Knight for our strikers, and that's going to give us 40% ignore dodge, plus our CTP of energy's got 33%, so that's going to give us 73% ignore dodge. That's more than enough. Captain America and Weapon Hex, of course, for that all defense down combo, and then Rachel for our mind control. And yeah, I'm using, the same like I always do, guys. I use Nick Fury's buff before I hit that co-op skill and before I switch to Ronin to do his skills. And man, you gotta be fast with Ronin, because if you're not, he will proc your CTP of energy, or proc your damage, your obelisk. Come on now. And look at that. He could probably go higher than this, guys. But the thing is, he is so fragile. Look at the damage I've already taken. He is so fragile. And because you're facing Corvus, you can't just throw in whatever strikers you want. You have to have ignore dodge in there. And that's another reason I don't like fighting this guy, because you're kind of limited to what you need. You need Rachel, and you need Weapon Hex and Captain America. That's 3 strikers you're already using. So I have to fill in them other slots with ignore dodge. Otherwise, I'd probably have Apocalypse or some other mind control to help keep Corvus locked down, because that's really a big problem with this guy. Even with Rachel in there, it's kind of a pain. It kind of sucks. But we're definitely on pace to do stage 80 with this guy. And remember, he doesn't have any Urus. I mean, it's pretty impressive if you ask me, but we're taking a ton of damage from the poison on the ground. We're taking a ton of damage. So if you had a CTP of energy with a little bit more ignore dodge, it'd probably help. Maybe I could get away with not using one of those ignore dodge strikers and use someone else. But for my setup right now, I kind of had to do this. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to pause it again. And so you guys can see, just a little over 2 minutes, stage 80. So if you can clear the first phase in 2 minutes, guys, you can definitely clear the last phase in that 3 minutes. Definitely, for sure. So guys, let me know what you think about Ronin getting it done, and let me know who you would like to see next. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching. Y'all take care and have a good one.